Awesome. So we are on our social media for DM150, and there's going to be some interesting information to compare with our websites here. And essentially, is you're going to be building and establishing yourself using social media in different ways. You're going to figure out how you can do stuff with blogs, why blogs work, and how they can showcase your expertise. Figure out benefits of webcast or podcast and stuff like that as well. And in the participation form, I asked to just discuss. See here. Oops, I discuss that question there. Talk a bit about your favorite podcasts and stuff as well. Let's see here. Okay, great. You're in. Great. Sorry about that. So social media is democratic. Essentially, anyone can get their message out there, regardless of what it looks like and what it might say. But you can definitely put it out there, and it offers a way to freely publish our content and thoughts. And because of this, there's also a lot of bad content out there too. But essentially, that is the drawback and positive of having a more democratic thing. If everyone has the ability to speak, there's a lot of well written information out there, but also a lot of responses that aren't the best. So, what this allows you to do is that businesses have the opportunity to create really well written and informative information. So easy. And to do that, your content must be a bit engaging. It must have a way to address a problem and then offer a solution to that problem. And again, this is a way that is for all content, right? You remember that we need to address the issue that is going on in that advertorial. And then after we address that issue, we go on to offer a solution for it. You don't really want to just throw out sales messages. You don't want to say new sale on Facebook group and that's it. You want to make sure that you have a lot of information out there and that you're using it more than to just sell a product, that you're using it to engage customers. Now, this isn't a participation one, but I think I answered it too. But this one seems a bit straightforward as well, right? This one is asking, should you be on social media platforms? And the best answer for that would be no, right? Because if you're on all social media platforms, you'll be spending all day trying to make sure that you update all of them constantly. And that's a bit too much work. So what you want to do is you probably want a website and then you want 2, maybe even 3 social media platforms that you are really solid on and can really cooperate with. Great. So now, if you could see here, the buy now memory foam pillows is the first one. The second one is 10 ways to get a good night's sleep. And essentially, the second one will be more appealing, right? Because you're going to try to learn something. And if you remember, the one thing that we talked about in all of our situations was that we want to teach the customer something so they can feel good and teach it to someone else as well. And then relate that back to your business, hopefully. I know a lot of people that just go onto Twitter and say stuff like, did you see what this company did? They're doing this now. Isn't that cool? And that is a way for the company to brand themselves and to sell themselves even more. And it's very effective. And again, social media in general, you need to be consistent in a marathon. Think of it like a marathon. You don't want to start, excuse me. If you're doing a marathon, you don't want to start sprinting straight away because you're not going to be able to make it. You want to make sure that you figure out a good trotting pace. Make sure that you keep going at the same pace and ensure that you don't rush it. And social media, even though if you can create the accounts for free, it's not free. You want to make sure that you use your time effectively on these as it is a way to funnel time into it. If you are spending time making Twitter accounts and making sure that your Twitter looks nice, that is taking time away from other things you could be doing for your business. And that's not bad, but if it is not working for you, then that is where it comes bad. So if you are costing yourself time at the cost of social media, you want to make sure that the social media is bringing in enough revenue or people to make it worth it. Now, there are blogs as well. And that back in the early 2000s, everyone started to make a blog, I think. And then they were logging what they found interesting, annoying, upsetting, and shareable. Essentially a way to voice your thoughts. Our robots and spiders from our last lesson kept looking at these blogs too, so it soon became useful for ways for organizations or businesses to post their items onto it and to make some more profits. Why would you want to use a blog? A blog is a really nice way to grant yourself a personality. If people don't know anything about you, but you have a blog, they're going to probably read some stuff you're interested in. You might talk a bit about your side hobbies, about what you would like to do in your free time. It gives you more of a personality and it makes you a more well written and rounded individual. If you have a consistently delivered if you are consistently writing blogs, people might enjoy that as well, and they might also be looking forward to seeing what you write too. Here's a really important thing that I would say everyone should probably do is on your website, you should have a tab at the very top that says blog. And then on that blog, on that page is where you should post your blog. So that won't be a static page. That'll be a dynamic page because you are updating it with new information all the time with new stories and stuff too. So that is one way you can go about putting your blog onto your website. Make sure that you have keywords and phrases that you've identified on your website still for your blog too. Remember, this helps with your SEO and the robot crawling, and that's always important. And even in the blog, if your blog is being hosted on your website, it can help find your website more if you have more keywords in your blog. Also, appreciate again that that this is a way that you could share with people. You I would say don't get annoyed if people contact you about questions on your blog. You are putting yourself out there in a way that's not that normal. It's a much more exposing experience in a sense because you might talk about things that upset you, things that happened, or stuff like that too. So make sure that when you're sharing your thoughts that you don't become a bit aggressive about it too. You don't want people, if someone disagrees with what you say in your blog, you have to be opening and accepting of that because you are putting yourself out there. And again, as with always, set an achievable goal and keep working towards it. Plan maybe a weekly blog post. That would be really good. You don't need to do a daily blog post. That would be too much. But maybe do a weekly blog post. Maybe you can do it a bi-weekly. Maybe on Thursday you could post a blog, make a blog post about your business. And then on Friday, make one about your personal life, maybe a hobby you're doing. So there's a lot of cool things that you could do. It's up to you with what you would like to go about and how to approach it. And again, make sure that your blogs are lined up with your marketing strategy. So if you're speaking about something that you're doing in your blog, maybe link it. Oh, and this is the calendar invite to that. Make sure that you can react to relevant news that makes people know that you're alive and conscious of what's going on around you. It makes your business more engaged. A great idea is that if you're volunteering your time or if you're doing a co-op with another business to help out people, you can make a blog post about that. You could say, let's say that you are a bakery and you provided food to a shelter. That's a really good blog post to make, and that makes people really interested in you because you're responsible for your community and you're doing good social work, and that will really build trust in your community around you. So a blog is a great way to do it. And again, don't overdo it, but do it regularly, meaning just be consistent. If you want to do once a week, that's it. A blog is probably a bit more active than like a newsletter. So make sure that whatever you post out there, you try to do it consistently. 2 weeks is good too. And again, you can give your personality in there. Oh, I said don't get personal. So again, this is up to you on how you want to do it. If your brand is yourself, if you're trying to market yourself, you might want to talk about your hobbies. If you're a bakery, if you own a bakery, you might not want to talk about a specific worker's hobbies. You might just want to talk about what the bakery is doing. But just think about how you would approach these situations based on different business styles. And again, always be informative. Remember, your one goal here is to try to teach people something so that they can teach it to someone else. Remember, that's not the one goal, but that's an important goal that we have. And as soon as you get people more interested in what you're talking about, the more likely they're going to purchase a product from you. Just like social media and Twitter, you are investing something in the blog. It's a part of your long-term strategy. It's not just a waste of time. It's something that's important. You want to make sure that you engage people, so that is how you go about creating your blog. I would say put comments on your blog if you like. Sometimes spam comments and stuff occurs, so you can do stuff to help reduce that. But if you maybe you will say something about, let's see here. So as a crazy example, maybe we take that bakery that did the shelter donation, and then you have pictures of you doing the shelter work, and then a customer might comment, "Oh, like those types of pies look delicious. I didn't see them in your store," and then you might realize that you are missing out on a whole potential area of revenue and customers based on your blog post. So it's a two-way street, and you want feedback for these. You can do guest blogging where you invite under industry experts to post forums onto your website. You might link their blogs as well. You could do a lot and make sure that you let them know that you're doing that too. But you could definitely do more than just have your own brand on there. Great. And of course, as this builds up, you got to acknowledge the possibilities that occurs with it. You might be very expert in some areas and people on your blog might like it. So you might be able to make a book detailing stuff about it. And make sure that you're constantly aware of opportunities that occur. You want to make sure that you're navigating the blog properly and ensuring that you figure out how to do it right. So from there, you can definitely build up on your blog and try to make a new revenue out of it too. Make sure that you enjoyed the voice development. Essentially, your blog is going to be a way to talk to your customers in a way that you usually wouldn't. So make sure that you figure out the voice that you like and stick with it. Now, here's another good one: is your webcast, webinars, and podcasts. I'm sure everyone hears of these nowadays. But a webcast, again, is a way that we can broadcast over the internet. Or organizations can live stream stuff. They deliver video and content. Webcasts are an important way to enhance your business development. And of course, back in 1995 was the first one with Macintosh. A webinar comes from combining a website and a seminar. If you can access if you can access the internet and you have some headphones, you are able to do some training. If they are delivered live, there might be some interactive elements on the webcast as well. And webinars may also just be on demand. They might just be recorded and they might just be delivered whenever they'd like. You might have someone sign up to access them, but this is another way that you can deliver information in new ways. Now, if you want to use a webinar, it's a very valid choice. You can offer, it's a useful tool, and it's a new way to deliver content onto a computer screen. And some examples of a webinar, again, a webcast and a seminar, is a how-to guide, how you can use a product, a new introduction of a product, sharing history, and information sharing. And the the usual buildup of these webinars is that there's a narration going on behind a video or slides. This could be considered a webinar. I'm giving a webinar on a webinars itself, so it's a bit meta. But essentially, you are speaking and directing stuff here. And essentially, because we do upload videos on YouTube, you can access this information anytime. It could be considered that. The slides should follow a structured flow so that they look visually appealing and engaging. And of course, there should be a general flow of what's going on. You should be able to get to an introduction. You should be able to hit each point of that introduction. And then you should do a summary at the end. If you're doing a how-to for a video, you should start off with what you're going to make. You should start off then with the then you go to the ingredients, the process of making it, and then finishing it. And then a summary again to just wrap it all up. And of course, a webinar, again, is a basic presentation, but because it's delivered in an online format, it's just on the website for a bit longer. Again, generally deliver your introduction to the topic. Yeah, and then of course, if you have time, if it's a live one, you can ask for questions. Give your summary. And then, of course, feedback is always important, but this ties into the blog as well. If you offer more engaging conversation with customers or people at your websites or webinars, you might get more feedback that you otherwise wouldn't. Now, a podcast is these things are blowing up now. I feel like nearly everyone has a podcast nowadays, but it's an audio file that you can download, and it's a really good way to deliver content. There's a bunch now, yeah, millions from lectures, stories, businesses, and stuff as well. And podcasts can be pretty much anything. There could be how-to guides. They could be more information, speeches, interviews, yeah, industry updates, stuff about products or stories. There could be like a ghost story podcast and stuff too. So there's a lot of cool things that you can choose from. Of course, podcasts, you want to try to see what works out really well. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you're appealing to the core customer of your audience. So you got to figure out who your audience is. And you could do that by maybe using analytics and stuff as well from Google. But in general, you want to make sure that you are appealing to your core customer. You probably want to do a sign off on your podcast and then link your website and more information about yourself. Again, podcasts are up to you. You can keep it simple if you'd like. I know some podcasts go really crazy with some things too. There's a lot of different ways, but because podcasts are very popular right now, you want to try to find a way that makes you a bit more unique. And of course, make sure that you don't do anything with copyright infringements or anything as well. Make sure you have a good microphone, have a nice natural conversation with host. Excuse me. I'm not sure what I'm thinking of ghost. Make sure that you have guests on your podcast and stuff as well. And plan, practice, and review. Make sure that you are always practicing. And of course, if you're doing a podcast, webcast, or a webinar, make sure you're consistent. Make sure that your quality is high quality. Make sure that you have a summary, description, and everything like that to make sure that people view it. And then you could also do stuff where you post a script of your podcast onto your website, where that will help with your SEO and other items as well. Awesome. So that one wasn't too bad. And I think some of that information is more so the social media that we might not be thinking of immediately. Some of that social media... Today's